Hi, my name is Judy Acker, and I'm the Education and Outreach Specialist for the French Creek Valley Conservancy. And today I'm going to talk to you about a really unique critter that's found in French Creek called the Eastern Hellbender. And the Eastern Hellbender is Pennsylvania's largest salamander, and we do have them in French Creek. Now, obviously, this is not a real hellbender. This is a model of a hellbender because real hellbenders aren't this stiff and flat. So this is a plastic model that we're using to explain about the hellbenders. Hellbenders can get this big. They can even get a little bit bigger. They can get up to almost 30 inches in length, and they can live up to 29 to 30 years old, and so they are a long-lived species. And they do have a really flat head, as you can see, and very roundish like this, large and broad round. Very strong jaws, which allow them to eat their favorite food in the world, which is crayfish. And they have to be able to crush that exoskeleton to get to the ooey gooey yummy stuff inside. They have little tiny beady eyes that you can see. And they have very wrinkly skin on the side that looks just like a lasagna noodle. And they actually breathe through the skin through a process called osmosis. And their coloration is actually very dark on the top, light on the bottom, and it can range from gray to brown to a mottled color. And you can kind of see this actually has some mottling on it. And you can also see that they have 4 little cute toes on the front, 5 toes on the back. Their legs are very short and stumpy. Their bodies are strong and muscular. Their tail is shaped like a rudder, which helps propel them through the water. They are aquatic species, so they live under the water, and they are also nocturnal, so you won't see them out during the day. They come out at night to hunt for the crayfish or aquatic insects or worms or whatever they can find to eat. However, in like September, October is mating season, so occasionally if you're kayaking or something, you might see one out during the day because they're looking for mates at that time. Now, their skin, when you catch a hellbender, is very, very slippery and slimy. It almost feels like a mucus on them. And that's an adaptation that they have to help make them hard to hold on to. It also, I've been told, tastes and really bad, so that if a critter catches it, they'll let it go. And I can't attest to that because I've never actually kissed or licked a real hellbender. So, you'll just have to take my word for it that they don't taste good. They also have some crazy nicknames because of this wrinkly skin and the way that they look. They are called sometimes a grampus or old lasagna sides or a mud dog or something, mud devil, something like that, an Allegheny alligator. There's all kinds of names that people call them. And one of the things that people call them is a mud puppy, and that is not correct, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Now, their habitat in French Creek and all creeks that they live in, they have a pretty wide range, clear over into Missouri. And they live under the really big flat rocks in French Creek. And they do kind of burrow under those, and they live there during the day. They make their nests in there when they're hatching eggs and things like that too. So you're not going to find them during the day. So you don't want to be moving a bunch of rocks in French Creek because you'll be messing up hellbender habitat as well as macroinvertebrate habitat. They are now, as of April, Pennsylvania's state amphibian. And so the state has recognized that this is a really cool critter that we have in the state. And we at the Conservancy believe that these are adorable. Aren't they cute? But actually, people think that they're really ugly, but they're such a cool critter. And as I said, some people call them mud puppies by mistake. And we do have mud puppies in French Creek watershed as well. But a mud puppy looks a little bit different than a hellbender. The mud puppies have external gills that are red or reddish orange, and it's like a little collar around their neck. Now, one way to remember mud puppy is puppies were collars, and mud puppies were collars too, a collar of gills. Also, if you look at the shape of their head, it's much more triangular in shape, and their skin doesn't have all those lovely lasagna noodle wrinkles on it either. And so this is Pennsylvania's second largest salamander, and we do have them in the watershed, but it's not the same species as the Hellbender. So you'll be able to tell the difference between the Hellbender and the mud puppy by looking for the collar of gills and the triangular shaped head on the mud puppy, and the rounder flat head and tiny beady eyes, but most of all, that lovely lasagna noodle skin that you're going to find on the Hellbender. So again, at the Conservancy, we love all kinds of aquatic creatures, but I think our favorite by far is the Hellbender. We just think it's the coolest critter ever. And now you know the difference between Hellbenders and mud puppies, and you can straighten people out that, call them the wrong thing. So I hope you learned something new today about one of our really interesting critters in French Creek.